Hey team, welcome. This is Fran Horvath and Sue Bell. We are here for our Friday team meeting, the Rundown. We're going to talk about what's new at Network Empire, some exciting and fun industry and marketing news, our weekly specials, and then general recaps, replays, revamps, and reveals. Sue, thank you so much for holding the meeting. What is happening?
Thank you so much for being here, Fran. It's Friday the 13th. It's been a very, very good day. In fact, it's been a good week. We've had lots of fun stuff happening this week, so let's just jump right in. Software updates. We've got new export options for Killer Keyword Tool. Um, whether or not you've got something filtered, if you have something selected, only those selected items are going to show up. If you don't have anything selected, if you have it filtered, then those filtered items will get exported. If you don't have anything selected or filtered, then your entire list of keywords will come up. So you can see here I've got 54 keywords filtered down from 113, and so when I did my export and I opened it up in a spreadsheet, you can see that I've got 54 keywords there. So this is great if you just want to select some of your keywords to import into DWS. This is going to work both with the CSV and with the DWS exports.
That is excellent. And just to clarify, so even if you're not necessarily importing into DWS right now, there are other reasons why you might want to have your spreadsheet. For example, to track your keywords, or what other reasons would people have for exporting?
Well, sometimes you're not building, perish the thought, you're not building your website in DWS. Maybe you're overhauling an existing site and you just want to track what's going on with that existing site and add some new pages or something along those lines. So you can export those keywords to keep track of what it is that you're doing. Or if you're, like you're using our spreadsheets for ranking purposes and things like that, then you want to export the list, and this exports the base data along with those keywords so that you've got like searches and some value things that help you decide as you go to create content on third-party platforms which keywords you want to tackle first, and which keywords you've already written content for, that kind of thing. That's what I use spreadsheets for and the exports from.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thanks, Sue.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a good update, I think. So then we've done a lot of work in the members area. As you know, we're in the process of overhauling the niche domination section and doing webinars each week on that. And so we updated the blueprint map in the overview section. And this is a PDF, a clickable PDF, which is really helpful because as you follow through the map as you're creating your blog and your website, you can click on the box and it'll take you right to those set of instructions in the members area or right to the appropriate tool. So it's kind of a tool that you can keep on your desktop and or give to your outsourcers, and it gives them the information that they need to be able at their fingertips that they can follow as they're going through the process. And the other thing, we did the ISDNA in the webinar this week. Next week we're going to cover phase 2, the keyword DNA research and market research. So we've completely updated and overhauled phase 2 with all of the latest from killer keywords, and just gone through and made it easier to understand and easier to follow the whole process.
And one of the things that we did in that update was that PDF that you just demonstrated or just talked about is linking up to the appropriate sections as we've updated them as well. So it's great to have that visual connecting right back to the training.
Exactly. So the other thing that we've done that I'm really excited about is over in the university we have a new course called Webinar Replays. And this is where we've taken all of our archive of webinars from 2012 up until this week and made them into one huge long screen. Let me see if I don't have that up. Hang on just a second. It might be buried somewhere. So the reason why, shoot, I must have closed that tab. So the reason why we put it all in one huge screen is because this way, oh, I have it. Wait. Let me show you. It's painting. Hopefully it's not going to give me flack. So it does take a minute to load this page because it is really long. It doesn't actually have the webinars in it, but it's got images so that you can have a visual reference for what's going on. Ah, shoot. Okay, so anyway, the idea is that you can actually do searches. So let's say that you wanted to know, you wanted to find the webinars where we talk about Panda or Penguin, or we talked about a mobile update, or we talked about ARP, or where we talked about local rankings, or whatever. Like all of them are in there, whether they were the monthly site reviews, or whether they were the SEOs, or whether all of the topics, everything is in that one huge page. And the thing of it is that the thing that's the most valuable as far as I'm concerned is having all that text on one page so that you can do a browser search for whatever keyword you're looking at, and you can look at the video and go, yeah, that's the video I was looking for, or I haven't watched that video, let me see it. It's organized from newest at the top to oldest at the bottom. So if you look for something like AMP, you're going to find the latest AMP webinar, and then if you're looking for an older one, you can just click next and it'll take you on down the line. So so as a resource to help you find stuff, I think this is going to be incredible. This is our very first version. It's our first iteration. It's my intention that we're all going to work on this thing and expand the text. I've talked to a couple of our outsourcers who have done this kind of thing for me before, and seeing if I can't get them to come back and put in some hours and a labor of love to expand the scope of the text in there to make it even richer so that you'll be able to find even more information.
Why don't you get a little excited about this?
I'm sorry. So the next thing we've got is a video that came across my desk, and it's marketing from a prospect's perspective, and it's something that we should all keep in mind since everybody here is engaged in marketing to one degree or another. It's just really good points to remember about how somebody looks at your marketing content, and it talks about engaging them in a conversation rather than just marketing to them. And it's it's helpful to increase promotions and just to increase your awareness of how what it is that you're doing is coming across to people. Now, if you didn't want me to get excited, I don't know how many of you know, but the semantic web is actually a branch of artificial intelligence. And my passion that actually got me into computers in the first place was a really simple artificial intelligence program that was on a Commodore 64 in a mall. And up until that point, up until I saw that, my dad was always like, you should get into computers. And because it was my dad saying that, of course, computers was the last thing I wanted to get into. Might have been slightly rebellious as a teenager, don't know. Anyway, so I come across this Commodore 64. Gosh, I've dated myself. Anyway, come across this Commodore 64 in the mall, and I'm playing with it, and I'm completely intrigued by how it's learning. And that was the thing that really kind of tipped me over into the edge. I was fascinated with computers before that, but that was the thing that it was like, okay, this is a path I have to go down. So artificial intelligence has always been one of those things that's fascinated the heck out of me. It's only been recently that you've been able to make money in that field up until, I don't know. And when I say recently, you got to realize I retired in the late 90s. So while I was really at the height of my career, artificial intelligence languages were archaic, to say the least. And nobody was really doing, well, I won't say nobody, but there were very few jobs to be had in that field. So so it was something I watched from afar. And so the intriguing thing is, I mean, obviously, we've talked in webinars before about the regret algorithm and some of the other things, the AI stuff that Google's been investing money in. But what came across my desk this week was some of the stuff that Facebook is getting into. Mark has been talking for at least 6 months about, they have a secret lab, right? And so he's been talking for at least the last 6 months about the bleeding edge AI stuff that they're doing in one particular aspect of their secret lab. But some of the stuff I came across today was in particularly interesting. So they have actually, this is in 2 or 3 different articles that I kind of pulled together ideas here. Facebook themselves have been using artificial intelligence, obviously, in how they put their news feed together and in monitoring for terrorist propaganda activities and also in the censoring that they do. But apparently starting in 2013, they hired Jan to head up their efforts and have really started to make new inroads into things. And what he's been talking about recently, which, as I said, bleeding edge up there at the top, right? Using a brain scanner. This is over in Yale, right? They've been using a brain scanner to identify which face someone was looking at just from brain activity. All right, and they're also thinking of moving beyond reading simple thoughts to predicting what someone will think next. And so what Mark was talking about in the articles I saw this week was being able to have an app. I don't know if like what kind of a physical device it's going to end up looking like, but mind you, we're talking many years out, like probably close to a decade out. Some kind of a thing that would allow you to post to Facebook simply by thinking about it. So let those concepts wander around your marketing brain for a little bit. Like if you know where things are gonna go, then you can set your compass to get from here to there. Like you're always that few steps ahead. You're always planning. You're always thinking, and you can astound your potential clients with bits and pieces of trivia like this. So so that's from the bleeding edge today. What are your thoughts about that, Fran?
Well, we've had several conversations all day today, but just seriously putting things into perspective, though, just knowing where things are going and may or may not take 10 to 12 years, just having an understanding of what's happening, you could start thinking about maybe where your business might want to go. Maybe, when the iPhones first came out, there were a lot of people who got really wealthy just by creating accessories and apps for this new technology. So it'll be the same thing. So don't get caught up in obviously it's going to be fun to debate some of the concepts and technology, but don't get stuck and miss out on opportunities just by getting buried in the chit-chat and the stuff that really doesn't mean anything and it's not going to impact anything.
Exactly.
Just, yeah.
Yeah. New technology can always be used for good or for evil, and it will. Like however that goes down, it'll happen the way that it's going to happen. But that doesn't need to prevent how you take advantage of the information.
Exactly.
So let's talk about webinar replays. We had some fun ones this week. On Tuesday, we had the last iteration or the last segment of our niche domination series, which was positioning and marketing. That was phase 1. And so out of that, we had the ideas. We ended up talking about smart scales and smart bands. And so those concepts sallied forward into our Wednesday webinar, which was an Unleash the Beast Introduction to Kraken 2.0. So we covered those topics in Kraken, and that's going to wrap around into our webinar next Tuesday, where we take some of those ideas out of Kraken and we push them into keyword tools, and we look at that whole market and keyword research concept. Also this week we had an AT4 lead generation system webinar. It's on funnels, tripwires, and lead magnets. This was a combination of Mike Clay and Matt DeCruz, and it was a really kick-ass webinar. It's not too late if you guys want to jump in this course. Guys that are in there are getting a heck of a lot out of it. We're about at the halfway point, so we've still got a lot of good stuff that you can participate on with the webinars, because Matt's making this a real hands-on course. He's got a lot of tech how-to videos that he's doing in advance and releasing several days before the actual webinar. So then in the webinar he does Q&A over those things and then actually shows new material. So it's a really, really good course. A lot of meat in that course. And members have a special price, 50% off basically. So then the other webinar we had this last week was MDM3. We did prospecting and lead segmenting. We had some questions come in from the audience, and Mike spent most of the webinar talking about that. Also a really good webinar. So let's talk about what we've got coming up for next week. The Tuesday Uncensored webinar, which I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about market analysis and keyword tools. And then we've got Wednesday, which is going to be a new series. We're starting Killer Keyword Mastery. That's free and open to everybody. And I'm sure the link will be down below here. And so this is going to be the first time that we really take killer keywords all the way apart and put it all back together again. And I'm going to try and do it all in about, it's probably going to be 90 minutes. I can't see getting all of those screens into a 60-minute webinar, but I will keep it as short as possible. I'm really excited about that, Webby. And Wednesday we've got an MDM4 webinar, which is, those are all Q&As. And then Thursday we have the next AT4 webinar, which is going to be on generating traffic. So that's our webinar for the upcoming week.
Okay, great. We have Kraken, the pre-launch special, still going on until we don't have a firm end date, but we're going to be taking it down as soon as the updates are up. So if you want to get in and have your grandfathered pricing, now is a great time to do it. That's on our networkempire.com/today page, and all the links for everything we've talked about today, the replays, to sign up for next week's webinars. If you're not a member and you want to have access to all the replays and some of the links that we're talking about here, we'll have a link to the different ways that you can become a member, and some of the classes that we talked about that are like the AT4, the lead generation. We'll have those links below this. So we just really appreciate you all, and we hope you get a lot of value out of our Tuesday webinars that are free every week. And even if you're not doing it's turned into an e-commerce, but it's such a great way to learn how Sue thinks about the tools, Network Empire, Kraken, and the keyword tools, and how she goes back and forth. So it'll help you no matter what you're doing, even if it's not e-commerce, which is just the example that we're using. So it's a great series to go through and get a little more insight. So thanks, Sue. We really appreciate you and all your hard work this week, and we'll see everybody on the inside.
Hey, thank you so much, Fran. This has been fun. I'll see everybody on the inside. Thank you.